ladies and gentlemen, I am Corey from Super Kami Guru 9000, and welcome to Star Wars for 100 Days, the ultimate fan countdown leading up to the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. We are only 6 days away from the release of the 7th chapter in the greatest sci-fi saga of all time. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, George Lucas and his film team created the Star Wars trilogy. And then in 1999, they screwed it all up with the release of the first prequel to the original Star Wars trilogy. This is my review of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Set 32 years before the original Star Wars film, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace is the origin story of Anakin Skywalker, the young boy who will eventually become Star Wars' most famous villain, Darth Vader. But the first movie is actually about a trade dispute between the planet Naboo and the Trade Federation. Sounds exciting, right? Most of the film follows Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi as they hop from planet to planet, gaining new allies and trying to protect Queen Amidala from the nefarious Trade Federation. These events are all being orchestrated by an evil Dark Lord of the Sith by the name of Darth Sidious, so that he can topple the Republic and destroy the Jedi. The biggest problem with this story is that it has no focus. I really couldn't tell you who the main character is. It could be Anakin Skywalker, but then again, he doesn't even appear in the movie until about halfway in. Qui-Gon Jinn is a cool character, but he's pretty forgettable, and Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't even really make a big splash until the last 10 minutes of the film. The film also introduces the audience to the Jedi Order, and we get to see a much younger version of Yoda. We also get to see Mace Windu, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson, who has barely any dialogue in the film, which I think is a very big crime. From beginning to end, the special effects will tantalize the eyes, but they also end up taking a big bantha-sized crap on the dialogue and the acting, which, like the special effects of this film, have not aged very well. At the end of the day, though, the most interesting thing about this movie is that we get to see a world of Star Wars where the Empire does not exist yet, and we get to see Anakin become Darth Vader. And while the story of the film is a complete and utter mess, there are also a lot of characters. There are an assload of characters in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Some good and some bad. Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn is played competently by Liam Neeson. However, aside from just spewing some wisdom and having a badass fight with Darth Maul at the end of the film, he doesn't really do too much. A younger version of Obi-Wan Kenobi is played by Ewan McGregor, who is very famous for being in the musical Moulin Rouge. Unfortunately, his talents are underutilized in this film, as he doesn't really have a big appearance until the very finale, where he battles against Darth Maul. Young Anakin Skywalker is played by Jake Lloyd, and holy crap does this kid suck. He manages to suck all of the energy out of the room with some amazingly cringe-worthy dialogue. It's really hard to imagine that Darth Vader used to be this little snot-nosed brat. Whoever was working with George Lucas at the time and was doing the casting of the film should have been fired, because the minute they said, hey, let's get the kid from Jingle All the Way, it should have been done right there. Get that person out or throw them into a Rancor pit. There's also the character of Queen Amidala, who will be the future love interest of Anakin Skywalker, played by Natalie Portman, who I do believe is a very good actor. The problem is, in this film, she just looks bored, like she doesn't even want to be there. We also have the much-hated Jar Jar Binks, whose stupid duck-billed face manages to ruin just about every scene that he is in. Chewbacca, he is not. I don't like Jar Jar Binks that much, but I actually like Watto the Junk Dealer. He actually has more charisma and better acting skills than even the human actors in the film. We also get to see the return of some fan-favorite characters like R2-D2 and C-3PO, who doesn't have his gold plating quite yet. He's quite literally naked in this movie. I have to admit, though, seeing the two characters interact for the first time is quite pleasant. There's also a number of other characters who return from the original series, in particular Ian McDiarmid, who played Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi, returns, an older man playing a younger version of himself, basically planting the seeds for evil. Ian McDiarmid is without a doubt the best actor of the film and probably the best actor from the entire prequel trilogy. And let's not forget Darth Maul, the real reason to check out this film. For a character who has very little dialogue, he's become one of the most iconic images from this film, and is without a doubt the reason to check out Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I was pumped before this movie was released. I was a little kid at the time. I was just excited over the prospect of seeing a brand new Star Wars movie in a theater. This was a really big deal for me, and I remember actually leaving the theater with my friends and thinking this was a pretty good movie, but something was missing, and I know what it was. It was heart. This was not the Star Wars movie fans were looking for. It basically just seemed like an excuse to sell some merchandise. Yogurt from Spaceballs would be proud. While I liked some of the slick action scenes like the pod race and the final lightsaber duel, the sterile acting and the political plot just put me to sleep. I honestly don't think that Jar Jar Binks ruined this movie. I think he had a lot of help from his co-stars, whose dialogue was like a malfunctioning robot. Fans just wanted to see a grand Jedi adventure, which would expand on the story of Anakin Skywalker. And while in many ways it did accomplish these things, it really just turned into an all-you-can-eat buffet of CG garbage, toilet humor, and political nonsense from racist-sounding aliens. I'm also not a big fan of how they explained the Force in this movie. They felt it necessary to give this mystical, almost religious-like energy a scientific explanation by saying that it's actually these things called midi-chlorians, which are these microscopic beings which live in people and give Jedi their power. Was this even necessary? That being said, the world, the planets, the universe of Star Wars Episode 1 is very beautiful. There are some breathtaking shots from these films. In particular, I love the look of Jar Jar's underwater Gungan city, as well as the pod race sequence, which always leaves me at the edge of my seat. Pretty visuals aside, they cannot save this film from its hated reputation. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is the opposite of a fine wine. With every year, it just gets worse. But hey, Darth Maul's lightsaber battle was still pretty badass. So there it is, my friends, my short review of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Did you get to see this film when it was released in theaters for the first time? Are you a fan of it? Do you not like it? Do you have a favorite sequence from the movie? Maybe a favorite character? What do you want to see from the brand new film Star Wars The Force Awakens? Make sure to tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.